The propaganda machine is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you are in bed with anybody. In the most recent last ditch effort to try and get as many people having smex as possible, so that way we can try to repopulate the world or whatever. There's already way too many of us by the billions. Virgins by TLC. It's a new series. It's coming out soon. I just saw the preview. It was bonkers, upsetting. I can't play it on here because I don't want this to be monetized, so let me summarize this for you. We're going to go through each one of these people one by one. But first, hi, my name is Shayna. I'm a journalist. I talk a lot about decentering men and child-free living on this page. If any of that sounds like a vibe, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want more content of mine, especially my travel content, go over to my Patreon, and I have a course that teaches people how to become a freelance writer. If you're interested, all the information for that will be in the description. Now, let's dive into this. Okay, so first we have Deanna right here. She is like 35 years old, and her whole thing is, oh, she's too picky. She's too finicky. Like she's too particular about the kind of person that she would like to have sex with. So much so that she just hasn't, as if that's a bad thing. She's basically a career woman with high standards who, like, I guess would like to know what sex is like, but it really does seem like it's the end all be all for her, which it's one of these two, either her or somebody says something wild. I'll get to that later. They all say wild things, truly. Next, right here in the red, we have Rasha. I think she's like in her early 40s, maybe like 41, 42. She is also a divorcee, and she did not have schmex during her marriage. So she is a virgin right now. From what I saw in that preview, they are jumping her. I don't know if this is her choice or if it's something that basically they're diving her, they're thrusting her straight into the deep end of just like extreme schmexual related things, and it don't sit right with me. Next is Sunali. This is Sunali. She is around 37 years old, and she is also one of the virgin cohort. It seems like, though, from what we see in the preview, that her backstory is more along the medical line than anything else. Like, you see her in the gyno's office, and something that she says to the cameras, I don't know if I can have schmex, which is probably leaning more into like possibly vaginismus or something like that. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But I think that that would be an interesting conversation to have, not necessarily about like putting her in a position where she has to find somebody to navigate this potential medical situation in an intimate setting, but at least having a conversation about what women's physical health is like. And lastly, we have this man. This man's name is Alex. He is 34 years old. He lives in his parents' attic. I saw this on, I'll post a link with that has more info on this. He lives in his parents' attic and drives his parents' car, and his sisters are like, hey, my brother should be having schmex. Your brother doesn't even have a lease. I don't think that he should be out there trying. Who am I but a woman named Shayna? Now, I've got a lot more thoughts about the nonsense that I saw in this preview that I'll be attaching to the back half of this video. But I do just want to briefly talk about this lady. I think I say it in the other video, so forgive me if I repeat myself, but just in case, in the clip that you see on TLC, the preview that you see, on TLC with Diane. Is that correct? Yes, it's Diane. She talks about wanting the fairy tale, but an insert, I don't know, something here. That fairy tale isn't about a relationship. For some reason, she thinks there's a fairy tale to schmex. Which, okay, sure, the whole like you make love with somebody, like we understand that, right? But that comes through a long-standing committed relationship. That's not specifically in the act itself, but she wants that. It don't make no sense, which is why I feel like this is all part of the propaganda machine. Which on top of that does not true. No, actually, it does make, oh my gosh, things are coming together in real time. Okay, so when I think about TLC, bam, TLC, I don't think a lot of men are watching TLC. TLC and all this specific kind of nonsense is very geared towards women watchers, right? So the fact that this is mostly a women cast, yeah, it makes sense for the demographics. The reality of it is that if this was actually being accurate, the demos would be inversed. It would be three unfortunate men and one woman that's just kind of like, I don't know, I'm a career woman. I have a potential physical issue. For her, I think it said that she had she went through some extreme weight loss. She lost like 80 pounds. They're probably going to be talking about that. Probably her like getting accustomed to her new body, the stuff that happened in her marriage, and all of that, right? They could pick one of them and just kind of toss them in. But the reality is this situation is something that they want women to care about. Not about the romance, not about the, oh, does he care for me? Does he take care? Does he care about my interests, my dreams? Does he support me? No. Does his ding-a-ling work? I would be shocked and awed into silence, into swallowing my own words, if they even mention the importance of consent in this. Somebody's supposed to be in a BDSM situation, so maybe they'll say it in a passing thing, but that needs to be at least half of this show, because these are full-grown adults that do, I don't, who knows what level of conversation they've had. Probably not that much, since they're talking about, oh, this is going to be such a paradise. Oh, it's going to feel like oh, I want a fairy tale. There's probably not a lot of actual conversations about what goes on and what goes on not during the moment and around the moment. This could be a very informative and educational series, but I know TLC won't do that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Please continue to the other things that I said a few days ago that I can't remember, and I will not be rewatching that clip. So I'm just gonna tack it on, and please let me know your thoughts. Yeah, as of right now, people are having significantly less sex, significantly less schmex than in previous generations, which also means that people are having less babies, which means that capitalism needs y'all to reproduce their little worker bees. So, hey, let's not talk about it like that, because the marketing, people don't really like that. But if we say, oh, we just want to put the focus on people getting out there and having more schmecks. What I think is fascinating here, and it really focuses on this lady right here, but what that lady said is, I believe the fairy tale. I want the fairy tale. But she's here on a show that isn't about finding love, that isn't about learning how to become the best person. That way you could find your best person. No, it is solely about the act of having sex. So it's not really about love. The show isn't about love. The show is about having people do the horizontal tango and documenting the experience of them having their first time. Now listen, it's nothing to be ashamed of if you're still a virgin, in the same way that there's nothing to be ashamed of if you have like a high body count, whatever. Like there's nothing to be ashamed of either way. But the fact that they are making an entire show about this, to talk about how people are so painfully uncomfortable in their lack of being not even being intimate, because it's not really about that. It's just literally the act of having sex, that they have to document themselves finding somebody to have sex with. You cannot tell me that this isn't propaganda. And within that, as we look at this cast, we have within the lens of European beauty standards, a pretty traditionally attractive white lady who is, like, no heat, no judgment, but it's giving like the like pretty neighbor lady, like the what is that phrase? The girl next door, right? We've got a black woman, we have a South Asian woman, and then we have a guy who is kind of giving the everyman. If I am being so absolutely for real, if we're thinking about like the actual demographics of people who are not having schmecks, this ratio of men to women needs to be inverted. Because I personally don't know a lot of women who are constantly complaining about not having like about not being a virgin, but the internet is inundated with, there's literally a phrase for it, incels. You gotta flip that ratio to make this somewhat, but this is like, if we're thinking about this as a means of, listen, TLC, do not come at me. These are all my thoughts. These are all my theories. None of this is real. I'm a liar. Ha ha ha. All right. So now we got that out of the way. If we want this to be like real, one, it's got, this whole thing needs to be flipped. But if we're looking at this from a space of what is this media trying to tell us? What does this media want us to do? What is this media saying about where we're at today? Then we're getting to the heart of what is going on, which also links back to a video that I had that's talking about the changes in people's algorithms that are currently happening, because they want, like, these systems, which are really just like people in power, want us to think a certain way and behave a certain way. And so they are giving us media that encourages people to work within a certain kind of agenda. And this agenda is get out there and have sex. I don't know if they're going to be talking about consent or protection or not wanting children or child freeness. I don't think that's going to be a part of any of this. I don't think the education part is going to be a part of any of this. But the intention is just, hey, get out there, do it. Maybe have fun, but like, look, it'll make you feel less ashamed of yourself. I would also like to say that I do have an issue with this poster in that she's looking all like innocent and doughy. She's giving no thank you. He's looking confused. Why is the black lady the one that's giving more sexually suggestive? Why is nobody else doing this? And I know that like they didn't just snap one picture. Why? Why? We know why, but like, why? Now, full disclosure, will I be watching this show? Absolutely not. I know I set that up like I would, but I won't. I have no interest in watching this. Unless you guys want me to watch this and like provide commentary, but it's really gonna have to be a lot of you guys saying that you'd like me to provide commentary on this, because this looks to be an absolute like TMJ inducing kind of mess, and I don't need my jaws to handle that kind of stress. Yeah, those are my thoughts. Please, I am encouraging you to leave your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My God, be safe out there. If you would like to start your freelance writing journey, I have a course that teaches you how to do that, so that way you could write for money. And for more content like this, head over to my Patreon. I got a knot in my hair that I'm going to take care of right now. So please, be safe out there.